What's up, folks? I'm your host, Konrad, on Wednesday Night Reviews presents my Sketchy Goodness for the first episode of 2026. Bit of a late start off into February, but people have been busy. And for those of you who aren't in the know, I am joined by the amazing Keith Gratchow. Keith, how you doing, buddy?
Good. Sorry, I was like, oh, I should probably let people know we're going live. So I'm like, jump in between. All right.
Much appreciated. Yes, we are live on YouTube and Instagram. If you are on live on YouTube, the chat actually comes in real time. And on Instagram, I am monitoring it, though the stream is, I believe it's 18 seconds behind for some reason.
Interesting.
Yeah, this is what I've learned. Well, Keith, it's been a hot minute since we've talked, about a month and a half since we've sat down and done this, I think.
Yeah.
There's so much we could talk about. Well, I guess to start with, Keith, you are no longer a mono show podcaster. Tell us what's new in the world of Keith.
Yeah. So basically, I've started up a new podcast with Sarah Furlong, who's a friend of mine. She's an amazing writer of children's books, and we're working on a graphic novel together. And so she and I, we've worked together in a way where we are really good at riffing with each other, like in regards to coming up with story ideas and stuff like that. So we decided it'd be kind of fun to see what it looks like to start with nothing, like not even like an idea. Although, I mean, she'll write down a couple of sentences of possible ideas, but really it's just we're not sure what we're going to be doing, and we go through them, and then once we decide on the idea we're going to work on, which is some kind of a sequential story, we are going to then develop that into a finished series of pages. Could be a comic book, could be a children's book, could be a graphic novel. Well, it wouldn't be a graphic novel, but it could be like the beginnings of a graphic novel. It could be like a web comic. Like it could have different formats. And so we're going to basically go from beginning to end with a story and then start again. So we may have like the first one we're doing, which is going to be, the Imagination Factory, is going to be Tuesdays at 7 p.m. For half an hour. The first 4 are going to be pre-recorded because we're kind of figuring out what we're doing. But so far, it's the first one we just did, which is now available for you to watch, worked really, really well. And this story, I'm imagining it could be up to 4 weeks long. It may be a bit longer. We haven't really, again, it's very organic. And then what we're offering, so the first half an hour is going to be free to the public. And then we keep on recording after for another 30 minutes. And that is going to be for membership. And really, it's not going to, I don't think it's going to take anything away from the process if you're just watching the free version, because we're going to talk a little bit about what we talked about in the extra 30 minutes for the next episode. But we're going to, for those people that kind of want to get more in depth, they want to be able to see something, because of the amount of time it takes to create some of these pages, it's really, it would take us forever to, I think, even do a few pages completely in the podcast for 30 minutes. So
Oh yeah.
we figured, you know what, at the 30-minute mark, you've gotten a really good amount of what that part of the process of the story, right? And then the next 30 minutes, we're just going to develop a bit further. And
Yeah.
then for next week, we're going to take it to that next step, which, so this week was concept, like what is the story going to be? And we went through the different ideas it could be.
Mhm.
And then next week, we're going to start developing characters.
Right on. I mean, I will say, do you mind if I give a little bit of spoilers because I have watched it?
Sure.
So what I really dug about it, one, both of you have a really good sort of back and forth.
Mhm.
It is a first episode, and so I feel like there's some of those like figuring out how it's gonna work, how you're gonna not only talk to each other about the story that you're making, but how to like talk to the camera because this wonderful device is still there, and you are of course doing this for the people on the other end. But once you guys got into it and really started discussing the different sorts of stories you were maybe thinking of running with, um, and then even towards the end of the episode where you actually show your screen and start sort of working out the initial details of the one you choose,
Mhm.
I felt I felt that at the 30-minute, I think it's actually like 38 minutes or something like that. Or maybe it's like anyway, it's in that ballpark.
It's almost, I'm pretty certain it's about 30, 31 minutes because I remember looking at
Okay.
the camera going, oh, we've got another 30 seconds to wrap up. Let's, anyway.
Right on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like it really concluded at a point where you had discussed sort of everything that I felt laid the groundwork. We'd started seeing some of the nitty-gritty, like you actually going in and drawing. And I definitely feel like that in and of itself was solid. And then if you're offering for a subscription, whether it's subscribe on YouTube or Patreon or however folks
Yeah.
can go, and of course they can do that by actually, you know what I will do is click this, click that, and then right in chat, I'm going to go ahead and drop the link now. So they can go click that link that I just put in chat. They will be able to see it, the YouTube channel itself,
Mhm.
and then go watch the episode. Yeah, you ended at a really good spot. And so if you're having a subscription model that'll go on to the next 30 minutes of you working, I think that'll be great because I'm sure whatever it is that you've discussed will be like nitty gritty stuff that
Yeah.
people can really pick apart, enjoy, or even just sit back and enjoy the process of you two talking about it.
Yeah. And because of the way that um, comic books or storytelling, visual storytelling works, there's different steps in the process that require less focus and more focus, as we've chatted on this
Yeah.
in our podcast, where certain things I can do and have a conversation with you, or certain things I need you to be able to kind of keep the conversation
Yeah.
going because I need to focus. And so I think, as you said before, it's kind of like we're trying to figure this out,
Yeah.
how it's going to work in regards to um, not only like the setup of it, which for anybody that's curious, we're working. It's like Riverside is um, the platform we're using to figure out like the way they have it laid out, and they it's really cool. They create clips for you and all that kind of stuff. It's similar, a lot of them are very similar, but this one is really good for pre-recorded. Is one of the reasons why we did it. Right,
Right on.
the live I think is what we use. Uh, the um, what is this company that we're using? It's
Restream.
Restream. Okay. So Restream, I think the live is probably about the same, but the pre-recorded, that's the part that we're like, where it actually has some really cool features. So in any case, we're learning it. And then on top of that, we're also trying to figure out like, okay, um, I'm going to be sharing my screen at some point. Sarah's going to be sharing her screen. How's that going to work? And then the steps and process of creating the page, which, the next steps are going to be the character development. So she's going to, from the conversation we had, from the first episode, we're going
Mhm.
to have something written down that the viewer is going to be able to see. And I'm going to read it out, and we're going to then go from there and kind of fill out the character a little bit more, and hopefully
Yes.
get a really good idea of how that person acts in this world we've created. And then um, because I can do it's essentially a focused doodle at
Yeah.
this point. That's not a problem. What's going to become interesting? I'm not say a problem per se. It's just going to be something to figure out how to do. Is when it comes to where I'm going to be doing much more finished, like pencils or something. So I have to think
Yeah.
about. Um, so again, without giving away any spoilers, you saw how I developed that drawing I was doing, and I
Mhm.
explained how that's not every time you approach a story, you may approach it slightly differently, but I have to figure out how far I want to go with those, like the finished product, with the
Yeah.
amount of time that we're going to have while we're watching it, and then if people want to get a subscription and that extra the second half an hour, uh, so that we can actually um, come up with something that looks finished, but maybe it's a bit looser than what I would normally do, right? Because I need to be able to focus on what I'm doing and talk. So
Oh, yeah, 100%. And I mean, I like I said, I think it's very fun. I look forward to watching the next episode. Is the goal for it to come out every Tuesday or every,
every
like,
Tuesday. So we're going to do
beauty?
again some the what's going to I love doing live. This is one of my favorite things. Obviously, you and I have a great time doing this.
Oh, yeah.
Um, and I think we've been doing this now. This is going on our third year, so it's crazy.
Yeah, something like that,
This is
yeah.
our third year doing it, but um, the the um, the pre-recorded is going to come in handy when, let's say, one of us
Mhm.
isn't available. So if we know that we're not going to be available on a Tuesday, we can always the previous Tuesday record and
Yeah.
like keep on going, and then break that up into 30-minute pieces so that we've got the next episode, which would be pre-recorded. That being said, if you're now watching and wanting to put something, have your input, right? So part of what makes this really fun is that the viewer can also help us, give us suggestions, let us know what they think as we're doing it. But if it's pre-recorded, you can also once we put it onto the YouTube, you
Mhm.
can comment, and then we can always answer your questions that next time when we are live, right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's still going to have viewer involvement if it's pre-recorded, but either way, it's going to be something that we're going to do every week on Tuesday at 7 p.m. It's going to go live March 3rd is going to
Right
be the
on.
official live episode where we're going to be doing something similar to what we're doing here. And the first four that are going to come prior to that are going to be pre-recorded, just so we can work out some of the kinks. We were happy with the first episode, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
We had this conversation. I'm like, I don't know if we're going to release that first month, because who knows if it's going to come out the way we think it will, and it may be lots of like misfires and stuff. No, that first episode was like, as you saw, it was like we went back and forth really
Yeah.
well. We have a good banter.
Oh, absolutely. Uh, I believe Sarah was saying that, like, you guys have worked together for a fair chunk.
A couple
Um,
years, yeah.
yeah, exactly. So naturally, just because of that, you will have your own pace. And then I guess the only real challenge, which I feel like she's done other online stuff, and so I don't think it'll be that much of a challenge because you've done it with me here. It's just a matter of sort of figuring out uh, how to have that conversation aimed at the camera, which I think you guys did great. So I
Yeah.
am going to throw up your drawing here that you're starting. Let's
So
see.
I'm going to I don't know,
Oh
play
no,
around with some different pencil. Like I've got a bunch of
there
different
we go.
brushes that I have now. So um, I think maybe that would be a fun one to start off with. Just starting to do some doodles of faces or whatever, and see what happens. And using this very like I would say it's like an HB type pencil, if I were to equate this to traditional.
Yeah.
But figure it's always good to go back to the basics, right? Whenever you're drawing all the time and you want, for whatever reason you're maybe feeling a little stuck, or even if you're not feeling stuck and you just feel like you need to do something that brings you back to earlier times in your career, it's always nice to just go back to those basics and focus on um, form, and focus on shapes, and go through like very basic process. So I'm doodling right here. And for anybody that's followed us before, they know that when this is like a very, I would say, mindless doodle. I didn't really know what it was going to be other than maybe a head. Like that was about the only thing, a bust, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to lay in shapes and see what I can see from this, whatever this is going to be, this person. Now it's a little bit more of a focused doodle, I would say.
Right on. I mean, happy for it. While you're starting off your doodle, just to start with, Leo has commented, cousins Charlotte and Paul say hi. Hello, Charlotte
Hello.
and Paul. Uh,
Hello.
and then our good friend Paul Kemp. Good evening, gentlemen. Hope you're both well. Thank you for doing another sketchy show. It's a treat to come home to.
Hey,
Thank
Paul.
you,
Good to
Paul.
hear from you, my friend.
Right on. This still, I've watched you do this for, well, this is episode 34 of this, so 34 hours of you doodling I've seen, um, and it's still, I highly enjoy the process. I think this is so cool. And the good news, I'm checking over on Instagram, and I do see that the drawings are actually, they're coming out really well. So that's wicked. Um, then, not to take away from your attention too much, but Keith, you have quite a calendar sort of lineup for 2026 already. Um, I believe your next major show is, if I'm not mistaken, this month, or is it going to be Comic-Con in March?
Yeah, so I haven't actually put out my official calendar yet, because I've gotten a bunch of shows since I've started talking about what I was going to be, since I started posting that I would be in Toronto Comic Con in March.
Mm,
So there's a couple more things that I can add on there. But yeah, so right now I've got Toronto Comic Con. I'm a guest there, and I believe, want to say it's like March 19th or 20th. It's like usually the third weekend of March.
yeah. Oh,
And that's a great show because I've been doing that one for, I think, at least a decade at this point as a guest, and maybe even a bit longer than that, as an exhibitor.
yeah.
And it's always really kind of chill compared to, let's say, Fan Expo, which is the 4-day show in August.
Yeah.
So that one is in the North Building at the Metro Toronto Convention Center, and it's a 3-day show. So if you live in the area, I recommend checking that show out. It's really fun. There's a lot of vendors and artists and guests, celebrities that go to that one as part of the show, but it's not as filled to capacity like the one in August, as I mentioned. So you actually get a chance to breathe a bit. You get to mosey and talk to people a little bit more without feeling that wall of people coming towards you, right? And I find
Yep.
that for me, I know my sanity, my peace of mind, it's much healthier. It doesn't feel as
Yeah.
stressful, and I actually get to talk to people. Even though I'm a guest, I find I get to talk to more people, both as friends and fellow creators. I have more opportunity to catch up with them. So that one, I may or may not be premiering a book there. I haven't. It's close to being finished. I don't want to talk about it. I have to. The person I'm working on. Well, actually, I've talked about it before with Howard Wong. It's called Repo Knots. May or may not be done by then. I'm also working on Summer on the Swing. So, I've got a. It's one of those books that it may take a while before I can get it finished, but maybe I'll have it done by March. We're still not sure. And then after that, I've got April. And again, I apologize for the exact dates. It's something like April 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd, something like that. That's Calgary Expo. I'll be a guest there. And
that's super cool.
I've never been to that show. I've never been to Calgary before. So it'll be a lot of firsts for me. Everything is already set up. I already got a place to stay. And
good for you.
I'm looking forward to not only exploring the city, but doing the show. As I said, I've never done that one before. And again, I may have new books by that point. It's still going to be up in the air, but I'm hoping to have something new, at least for March or April. And then after that, I've got Comic One book, which is going to be back for the Free Comic Book Day, which is the first Saturday in May.
Yeah.
And that's one of my favorite shows that I do. I should probably pull up my. I don't want to pull my calendar because we had that issue last time.
Yeah.
But doing that is always a lot of fun. That always feels like home to me, doing that show, or doing the comic book signing there. And then back at Oshawa FanCon, which is the Oshawa Library, has their annual they call it FanCon, and they've changed it from November to May. So I believe it's the second week of May, second Saturday in May. Again, it's like 7th or 8th of May, something like that. And that one is a small library show, but I've done that a bunch of years. It's fun. It's a very casual show. And then the newest thing I can talk about, I just got an official confirmation for that one is YetiCon.
Oh, right on.
You sounds like you know that one.
I've never been. I know it's like being in Canada. I don't want to say up north, but it is more north than where I live.
It's in Collingwood. It's not that far north.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's north, but it's not like north. But yes, in Collingwood area. It's on like a ski resort or something, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I've never done it before. Our friend Martin Duncan told me about it, and I looked into it, and so I'm talking right now. I'm going to find out if I'm going to be like doing panels for them and stuff. So I don't know exactly. Like I'll be tabling for sure, but I may also be doing some panels for them.
Right on.
That one is third weekend in June. It's 3 days. It's like June 19th, 20th, or 21st, something like that.
Yeah, June 19th to 21st at Blue Mountain Village in Ontario, Canada. Paul mentioned he was born in Collingwood.
Oh.
Right around the corner.
Maybe you'll have to join us, bud. Yeah, so that's the newest one I'll be doing, or the last one that I got confirmation for. I've applied to a bunch of shows. I'm still waiting on confirmation for shows, so I don't want to say anything until it's a definite. But so far, I've got a nice amount of shows lined up for the year.
Yeah, I'd say. On the end of YetiCon, because I don't think I've ever shouted it out before. I'm literally on their site just looking at passes. So you can get, say, a Saturday day pass for $25 plus tax, of course, Canadian. You could get a weekend pass, general admission for an adult, $60 plus tax. And then they have something called a Black Diamond VIP pass, which definitely makes me think they really are in a ski resort, which is a 19 plus pass, includes limited edition badge and lanyard. Cool, yeah. Ticket to Frostfire Gala, which is a 19 plus event. So I'm imagining probably serves alcohol. VIP registration.
They also have a night market where.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so the two tiers of this show are the day show, which there's a name for it, and I don't know the name of it. I can't remember it. But that one is this 3 days, and then there's like a night show, which is for your more racy type of,
Yeah.
comics and crafts and stuff. So the day one is more family friendly, and the night one is for the really more adult type stuff. So where I'm just doing the day one, and uh, I imagine they have like a pass for the whole thing if you want. I think that's what you were talking about.
Yeah, the Black Diamond VIP one. Yeah. That's actually, I like that a lot. Because like I've known just through, again, like all the interviews I do with WNR, from being a living human being and walking around Comic-Con floors. Some artists prefer to work in more adult mediums and do more racy things, whereas some folks don't. And I think it's really cool to give like a specific dedicated time to like more mature content. So that way, yeah, like kids can come have a really good time. Parents can not have to worry about their kids seeing stuff they ought not be seeing.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the flip side, if you want to hit up a Comic-Con and get comics and have some adult content in them, you could go in I'm imagining, relatively speaking, child-free space, if not completely child-free space, and just enjoy and hang out. Like, that sounds super cool. Good on you, YetiCon.
So any shows that you're planning on doing this year?
I have not applied to panel at any, but I think it is time, because it's been a hot minute, to really get back into doing sort of live interviews. Not to step on the toes of the absolutely amazing, and if you're watching this live or sometime in the future, do check out True North Comics podcast. Fantastic show. The gentleman who runs it is an absolute gem. It's gotten to the point now where wherever I see him in the wild, we literally we'll point at each other, we'll run over, say hi, have our bit, and we'll be on our way. He'll make his content. He focuses on much more brief content, whereas I, like we're doing tonight, tend to have much more long form. That's my thing. But yeah, I might go in and do some shorter form content, do a lot more photos. So I do want to hit up March Comic-Con or Toronto Comic-Con in March.
Have you thought about, you can always contact Kevin Boyd, I believe, and
yes,
asking if you can moderate, because you're really good at having these conversations, long form conversations, asking good questions that I think the audience would want to have asked if they could. And I'm sure that, having been doing your podcast now for as many years as you have, it's a really good portfolio to be able to go, hey, listen, I do this all the time. I'd love to be able to moderate a panel.
I think I will. That sounds really fun. I applied once, not once, I've applied a few times, but I got in once at Toronto Comic-Con to do a panel, and it went really well. I had a good time with it. But yeah, I will reach out to Kevin. Kevin Boyd, folks, for those of you who don't know, is the name of the gentleman who organizes, to my knowledge, it's just the comic book stuff, or does he organize a lot more than that?
No, he's just Artist Alley. He's essentially anybody that creates comic books. So anybody in the indie scene, as well as the more mainstream, he gets them. And this is as guests, not as I don't believe he organizes any of the exhibitors that are in the artist craft area. I think he is purely the guest, but the guests he does get range from indie to more mainstream, like Marvel, DC type of writers and artists. So he's somebody he's been a huge advocate for me. I always appreciate anytime he makes me part of the show. But he's also, he does all of the shows for the Fan Expo, right? umbrella of Fan Expo shows all throughout North America, right? So he's a very, very busy dude.
Oh yeah. I didn't realize like I believe it's at least one a month. A show that like Fan Expo as an organization puts on. And yeah, they're like all over. It's kind of crazy.
Not just once a month. There's some that are two in the same weekend.
Oh my god.
I want to say it's like Dallas and Boston show, maybe the same weekend. So he'll have like uh, half his team working, the Boston, and he'll be in Dallas or vice versa. Or maybe it's
yeah.
MegaCon. Maybe MegaCon, there's another show. I can't remember, but I saw that he posted that there was more than one show in a weekend. So yeah, they're pretty busy when it comes to the amount of shows they do, and they're run really well. I every show that I've done for Fan Expo, I've had no issues with. I've always thought that they, at least the guest part of it, for the most part, like it feels good to be part of it. So
Oh yeah. Like it's funny you mentioned it earlier. Like the Toronto Comic Con show is like, if you've never done a Comic Con ever, I think if you're in the area, I would recommend Toronto Comic Con because yeah, it has that breathing room. Now, Keith, your majority of experience with cons, I would say, is as a exhibitor or as an artist who's going as a guest. Where you mentioned like these walls of people. As someone who mostly goes as like a fan, I'll say, or like a person walking around and taking the people in and all the stuff that you can get and all the people to see and the attractions. It is very much a wall of people, and I am a man of size. I'm just shy of 6 feet. I'm like 5'11" and a half or something weird. And what am I? 300 pounds? Like I'm a big dude, right? And I got the big beard, orange hair, stick out like a sore thumb. And sometimes migrating my way in Fan Expo Canada, which is the September or August show, it could get a little tricky. Whereas the one in March is there's breathing room. There's you're not like claustrophobic all the time.
yeah,
But yes, either way, I think they're run very well. And so far, like I'm scrolling through the Toronto Comic Con guest list, and it looks pretty crazy. Like in the special guests, which are I would say indie folks. We've got Wordburglar, who is SJ, local Toronto rapper and comic book creator. We've got alum from WNR. We've got Stephanie Cook of Rack Pack, John Daly of A Better Place. Give me some other. Well,
Dwayne Murray, who wrote A Better Place.
Oh, right on. Oh, is he going too?
Yeah, he should be there.
Yeah, there he is. Amelia Strolchik of Be Yourself, Oh Not Like That, or their newest book, Oriana, The Forgotten Deities, which I need to go pick up.
Yeah,
So I guess I'll do that.
I've yet to meet them. I was supposed to at a show and they canceled. I think it was like Word on the Street or something. They had to cancel. But
Oh, okay. Well, Amelia is wonderful. Fellhound, another alumni, like bunch of people. Of course, Group of Seven Comics is going as well. So it is good to see. But there's also like a bunch of new people that I'm not 100% familiar with. Ryan Best, Sheldon Carter. The name seems familiar, but I don't know if I've ever spoken with them. Jeremy Simser, Janet Hetherington.
Janet's
Yeah, Janet. Yeah,
she's with Ron. He's married to he's been around for like 30 years. I'm blanking on his name at the moment, but he used to draw like Elvira and all that stuff, I think. Or Elvira. Anyway, he did. She's very well known too. So.
Oh, and she happens to be from Ottawa. I love that. Yeah, so it looks like it's like even just like the indie folks, it looks really good. Also, from out west, we have Adrian Kaleric, who did Trakovi, which It's not currently on the wall, but I do love it. And then even like the more, I don't know what to call them, but the featured guests, the more mainstream creators, I'll say. Uh, who do we got? Marco Rudy, who we've had on the show. I always struggle to say this man's name. His last name is Lindsay Janoy, I believe, who does Absolute Green Lanterns Coming. Ty Templeton, of course. Toronto's own Jason Lowe. I believe I'm saying that wrong.
Jason Lowe. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, I am. I was correct. I'm saying it wrong. Jason Lowe, Ken Lashley. So yeah, looks like it's going to be a really cool show. So yes, Toronto Comic Con. I'm going to go and try and check out. I will reach out to Kevin about handling because I think it'd be fun. And then I don't know. Beyond that, probably Fan Expo this year. Didn't go last year, but yeah, like I said, I want to do more in WNR. I've focused on this a lot, and doing some other stuff, but I want to get back more into it, which will be exciting for the year. Look at you go! Oh my god!
Yeah, this is such a good way to practice, to get new character ideas, to warm up or warm down, to discover slightly different ways of approaching faces, right? That you would never have been able to do before, right? So nothing goes wasted. I may this one that I'm drawing right now. I'm like, oh, this is kind of interesting. I've never really drawn this kind of face before, so I can remember how I've done this, or I can use this as a reference for another face like this one for something else I might do, right? So there's a lot of benefit to just going back to the basics sometimes, because you're not wasting anything really. It's just a matter of letting yourself be loose and seeing what comes from it, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, of them all, for whatever reason, on our screen it's showing as bottom left. I imagine for you it's your bottom left as well. But the dude who's looking, that guy who's looking downward, you were just looking on his collar. Something about that one's sticking out to me. But I had a question, Keith. We're gonna get a little meme for you.
Okay.
I'm gonna see if I can share my screen. So in the anime circles and on Reddit, a creator known as Space Dev One was practicing their art, as they do, and they were drawing Frieren from the famous manga and anime Frieren, and they stated, I practiced drawing faces in a different angle, but it looks kind of weird, lol. And this is the face. And I admit that is a weird angle. So you're seeing aiming up, looking up in that way. What I think is super cool. So this happened 3 months ago, and within the context of the TV show that is inspired by this, within that 3-month period, the creators of the show saw it and added that in. It appears on the screen for a brief blip.
Well, that's
cool. They made sure that Frieren had that angle in the show, which I thought was a cool reference. Are there any angles, perhaps this angle or other angles, that you find difficult to draw, or as this creator said, looks kind of weird? Oh, well, you're already going for it. All right.
Yeah, I mean, this one's a little bit difficult. I find that, it's more about structure, right? Like I'm essentially, I'm not showing you all the steps. I'm skipping some of them where I'm seeing them in my head, but the head, if it's looking straight on at you, you divide it up. You got your eyes and your nose and stuff like that. But when you put it at an angle, like upwards or downwards, it starts, that straight line now starts to curve.
Yeah.
right? So you're if you're looking up at some up like so you're it's a worm's eye view. It's going to curve kind of like this, so that the right. And then if it's like a bird's eye view, it's going to do the opposite.
Yeah, it all lens down.
And so the worm's eye view also means that like the things that are the eyes, the nose, all that stuff starts to condense. And then it's the opposite when it comes to um, the bird's eye. So the forehead, the eyes are all much closer together here. And then when you're looking down, the forehead is much more prominent. And then you've got the eyes that are, the space between that forehead and the eyes and the nose are a little bit wider. And then oftentimes you may have the nose almost hanging over the lips. Right.
Hmm.
And so you just have to remember that it because it's on a sphere, it's going to curve. Right.
Yeah.
So that, and then it just depends on the angle that you're right. Because it's essentially, one way of looking at it is it's like your head's like in a box kind of. It's not quite,
Yeah.
but it's similar. So you have to figure out like, okay, so if I were to take like a side view of the head, right? So this is a side view, right? And you can put it in a box as well. And you want to put the ear in there. It's kind of like if this is quadrant 1, 2, 3, 4. So you'd have like the ear almost towards the back of the second and fourth quadrant, and then it's gonna go even further back when you look at it at this perspective, right? That there's a side view of the. Let me draw that a little bit clearer here. So side view of the head, right? It's almost like you put in the box kind of, and the ear kind of. You may have a bit of the back of your head showing, right? Your hair would come out a bit more. It's not a lot, but then when it's at this view, when you're looking up, it's going to go even further back, right?
Oh yeah.
And just depending on how much your ears come out, there's probably a good chance you wouldn't even see that ear on the other side there, or you may see the bottom part of the lobe a little bit, and then the chin itself. That's the hard part, right? Because you've got like, essentially you have the jawline here. So you've got like your chin, but because technically you're not really seeing from here, you're not really seeing like a definitive line per se.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a little bit hard because you're more likely you would almost draw it like this. So you're not actually seeing the outline of the, because you can render that in like value. You can, if I were to, you see shade. You can do line work too. It just depends, but it always looks a little weird to do it that way. So oftentimes I may not even have any kind of a line there. All right, it's preference. It's whatever you're comfortable, and it's just this is a more extreme. Foreshortening is really what it is, right? So everything is kind of overlapping upon itself. You're not necessarily, so you have your cheekbones, right? The brow, right? That kind of stuff come out on the one side, and the other side you're not really seeing it at all, right? So
wild. Yeah.
It's just it is a little bit more difficult, I think, but when you practice it enough times, it's your upside of your nose. So you have to figure out the nostrils, right?
Yep. How much hair or boogers to put up there, of course.
Exactly. So, right, and then you can adjust it. Like in this situation, I think I would bring this down more, right? Because you got that little this little thing right here, whatever that's called.
Oh, the little dip thing between the lip. Yeah.
Yeah, there's an actual term for it. So, yeah, it is a little bit more of a interesting one to do, but it's fun to do. Like it's part of the whole process of doodling and stuff. You're hopefully that it'll loosens you up enough so that you can start to just use your mind's eye, your imagination to use reference for what you've seen before. If you've practiced this before, then you can hopefully remember how you did it once you've loosened up a bit.
Wild.
So.
The thing hidden behind my mustache and yours, that dip is called a philtrum.
Philtrum. That's right. Yeah.
Such a weird name. But yeah, the fact that like I showed that picture, I'm gonna say 4 minutes ago, and you have this beautifully rendered head for us, like wild, Keith, wild.
Yeah. Well, again, this is practice. This is just doing this kind of head over and over, and getting it wrong many times, and
Yep.
even here, I probably would have to make sure that the nose is always a little bit tricky, right? Make sure you got the structure of the nose properly. It's kind of like it's almost like a something like this, right?
The human body is so weird.
Yeah, but that's why you just break it down by like shapes and stuff, right? So even though I'm not drawing it exactly like this, that's how I see this.
Yeah.
Right. And then, you can erase some of those lines so that it's not as obvious, and then the brow and all that stuff, right? So yeah, there's some people I'm when it comes to drawing like the head and or using like using the body in ways where you can like say how many, like dividing it into very specific types of shapes or forms, and knowing like, well, if you were to take the corner of one eye and the corner of another and draw a line all the way down to the ends of your lips there and keep on going down, you can create like this triangle, and then you take there's people that actually figured out the geometry
Yeah, that's so cool.
like somebody's face in all different directions, and that's not something my brain doesn't work like that, unfortunately. I would love to be able to like break it down, like you can break down the head into all different planes so that you understand like how the light is going to hit it at certain angles. But there are ways that some of the artists have figured out, like the mathematical, you take the ear, the tip of the back ear, and you draw this, and it's going to be exactly, this ear is going to be, you divide it up, it's going to be 3 ears, like something where I've never been able to do that kind of thing, where because that helps them, so that anytime they're trying to figure out like, why isn't this working out? Oh, well, if I divide this up into 3, it should be 3 ears in perspective, like that kind of thing. Like that's some artists are really good when it comes to that kind of like division of the face or the body, where they can figure out like points in the body, and then mathematically figure out it's whatever they want to, however they want to just design it with the different planes of the body to figure out how to split it up and see things. But there's all different ways to do it, and it's just whatever works for you, however you learn, right? I'm more of that's why I like doodling, because doodling for me, when you doodle, you're kind of your subconscious pulls up imagery that if you try to think about it, you can't. It's kind of like when you can't remember a word, and the harder you try to remember that word, the further it slips away. And the moment you stop thinking about it, your subconscious goes, okay, now I'm going to tell you what it is.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing when you doodle, when you are essentially just like not thinking too much about what you're doing, you're just letting, your hand move on the medium, and of course you're drawing lightly. What ends up happening is you start to use everything that you've ever seen in your life, you start to kind of flick through it and go, oh, I think I've seen this kind of person before. And now I'm going to start to fill in the shapes. So I'm using my own imagery, my library reference library in my head to figure out what this character is looking like. And I'm seeing it in my head now, and I kind of have it's like if I had something in front of me, right? I can look at it and go, oh no, this is off a little bit, right? So I'm good. That's why I like doodling, because I'm using a reference from the doodle to actually work through the figure a bit better, versus if I were to do it mathematically, which is okay as well, you would be able to it's almost like you'd create the figure in a different direction.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And you can do both. Obviously, you can use both. Like if you have the skill to be able to go, okay, I've doodled this character out, but now I want to make sure it's accurate. So I'm going to go, okay, so draw a little bit darker here. I'm going to start to form some construction lines and start figuring out like the planes of the face and oh, you know what? I know this, that kind of thing. I can start doing that as well, combine the two of them. But some people are just really, really experts when it comes to breaking it down in a geometric or plane, mathematical plane type of way.
Yeah.
And that's not my strength.
I mean, sure, Keith. You might not feel naturally disposed to it, but sure, Keith. It's not your strength. You're not good at it. No.
The mathematical part of it, I'm not good.
Yeah.
I as I said, there's some artists that can like really break it down in a way where you're like, I'm not even sure what I'm looking at, and then you start to see them put it together, like, whoa, they actually created a really cool face. Painting does that too. In painting, if you're oil painting, oftentimes the painter will just they'll lay in like a very loose pencil, and then they paint on top, and they're adding in shapes that you're like, I'm not sure what I'm looking at. But then as they build the shape, one on the planes of the face, they start to, they're thinking in regards to value, light and dark.
Yes,
start to build light and dark, and you'll start to see it form. Right, that's another way of that's probably a combination of having done it many times. So they're using like a formula, but also having seen people, they remember, how the light hits somebody's face, right?
Oh, yeah. Like I've seen that a few times. I've watched videos of that, where I've seen artists they weren't painting with a brush. I believe it was oil. It might have been a different medium, but they're using a brush, scooping up bits of paint, and then just like thinning out the material over the canvas and layering it. And at first, it's like, okay, cool, you're building kind of loose rectangles, and then that's a square, and you're like, okay, you've said you're building a person's face, but all right. Then all of a sudden, once they hit that first detail where it kind of ties it in, makes it look like a natural shape, all of a sudden it's like 4 moves later and you're just looking at a completed face, and you're like, how did you pull that out of nowhere?
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those spooky things that I don't think I've said it on the show in a while, but it's the beautiful lie of art, where like with what you're drawing right now, it's just lines on a 2D surface, but if you put enough detail into it, my brain will perceive that as a 3D object, and better yet, a person. It's the lie of art, and I love it. I think it's so cool.
Yeah, well, that's it. I love that too, right? Because everybody kind of approaches this stuff a little bit differently. So when you're doing it, you can learn something if you see somebody doing something a certain way, where you go, oh, I've never really thought about the way that like if you're looking at like an arm, and it's like, if you see somebody doing this, like, what are they doing? What is it that it looks like they're putting together like a lock or something? And then you're like, oh wait, that's the forearm and the bicep tricep that they're drawing, and they just see it a certain way, right? That you go, oh, I can use that. That's kind of interesting, because then if you see it, and if you go, well, if I do it, a much more foreshortened way, I'm drawing, the hand, in a much more, interesting way. But I also have the shapes that this interesting interlocking of shapes that I can use to start to form the body, right? So anyway, yeah, it's all very interesting, right?
Oh, couldn't agree more. That being said, Keith, we've got 5 minutes to go. So really quick, I guess let the folks know where they can find you online and where they can find you in person in the coming months.
So as we talked before, I have the podcasts that the Imagination Factory. So you can go to our YouTube or Instagram, the Imagination Factory. I believe there's like a bunch of dashes there. Yeah, the dash Imagination Factory. And then I'll post on my Facebook under Keith Gratchow or Instagram under Keith Gratchow, as well as my website, keithgratchow.com. And then, of course, we have Wednesday Night Reviews, where you can find my Sketchy Goodness, as well as Wednesday Night Reviews, your podcast that you put out on Wednesday nights. And then I am going to be, as I said, the first show is going to be Toronto Comic-Con in late March.
Right on.
And I'm not doing any kind of like book signings or workshops until maybe later part of the year at this point. So the shows I'd mentioned before were right now what I'm doing, but I'm constantly adding new things on there. So I will be posting my con schedule probably in the next couple of weeks with
Right on.
hopefully some added additions. So yeah, Toronto Comic-Con, you can find me there as a guest.
Beauty. And then I will take a quick second. I have a confirmed interview with the wonderful Nick Good from Over the Pond for his, I believe he's kickstarting issues 3 and 4 of his series called Sussex, which is really interesting. It's basically it's a spy drama, but it looks at the psychological health of spies and all the different stresses they go through. Fascinating. I believe you'd still get just the first 2 issues digital. But yeah, Nick Good, Goode. And the comic's called Sussex, and I have that on the 20. It's actually Tuesday, the 24th of February. I'm going to start at 6:30 p.m. because he is in England, and that is his 11:30 p.m. He says he didn't care, and I was like, I don't want to kill the guy and do 7 and put him at midnight. So we're going to try with that. But yes, so folks out there, absolutely, thank you for tuning in. And yeah, go follow Keith. Go check out his new show as well. I think it's great. And you can check it out. Yeah, you can check it out Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Be sure to follow Keith as well as Sarah. And beyond that, yeah, Keith, I suppose I will see you next time, my friend.
Yep, and just real quickly, so I will be hopefully this year I will have Summer on the Swing out. I'll have a Reponauts out. I'm going to have Concrete Martians, the collected edition out. And
that's cool.
Might be missing something, but so I'll have a bunch of books out sometime this year as well, and I'll make announcements as soon as I get a bit more concrete information.
Beautiful. That's actually super exciting to hear about Concrete Martians. Perfect. Well then, Keith, hopefully soon in the next 2 weeks, I will see you again. And if not, well, we'll make it work, and I look forward to next Tuesday for you. All right.
Thank you.